When I bought my ranch 10 years ago, I knew the wide open land and mountain views would be worth every penny, even if it meant being neighbors with the fancy new development creeping closer each year. I didn't mind the newcomers at first. They liked the view, I liked the quiet. It was a good trade. Then came Karen. She bought the biggest house in the new HOA subdivision that bordered my east fence line. Within a month of moving in, she was knocking at my door with her clipboard, sunglasses, and a smirk. "You know," she started, waving her pen at my pasture, "it doesn't really look right that you have all this land when everyone else here only gets a half acre." I just stared at her, not sure if she was joking. She wasn't. Karen told me she'd taken the liberty of proposing a plan to the HOA to incorporate my ranch into the subdivision. The idea? Subdivide my 100 acres into community green space and future home sites, which, naturally, she'd be helping to manage for a reasonable fee. I laughed so hard she got offended on the spot. I told her no, slammed the door, and figured that was the end of it. It wasn't. A week later, I came back from hauling hay to find 2 sheriff's cruisers parked by my barn. Karen was there too, arms crossed like she owned the place. The deputies, bless them, looked as confused as I was. Apparently, Karen had called 911 claiming I was hoarding land. Her words, not mine, and that it was unfair to the neighborhood. She told the deputies I was in violation of community guidelines and demanded they forcibly remove me so the HOA could take possession. The look on the deputies' faces when they explained this was priceless. I showed them my deed, 100 acres, clear title, no HOA easements or claims. Karen whipped out a stack of HOA paperwork. The deputy held it like it was toxic waste. "Ma'am," he said flatly, "your HOA has zero jurisdiction over this property. This ranch isn't part of your subdivision. It never was, never will be." Karen lost it. She started screaming that I was wasting space and that the community deserved better. She told the deputies if they didn't enforce the rules, she'd have them removed too. That's when Deputy Miller, a local guy I'd known since high school, calmly asked her to step off my land. She refused. She stomped toward my barn, ranting about how she was inspecting her new greenbelt. That's when the other deputy clicked his radio and told dispatch he needed backup for trespassing and disturbance. Karen tried to argue until 3 more deputies pulled up. They explained, in very polite but firm words, that she was trespassing on private property and ignoring a lawful order to leave. She screamed about lawsuits and her rights. The lead deputy calmly read her my property lines again, then handed her a notice of criminal trespass. When she still wouldn't budge, they did exactly what they'd warned her they'd do. They arrested her for trespassing and resisting. She shrieked at me as they walked her to the cruiser, promising I'd regret this, and "You'll hear from my lawyer." Her HOA board later tried to negotiate with me to drop charges. I didn't. She spent the night in county lockup and got a $1,000 fine for trespassing and obstruction. The HOA tried to save face by voting her out a month later. The new president brought me cookies and an apology letter. He promised they'd stick to their side of the fence from now on. I still own every inch of my 100 acres. And Karen? She sold her house and moved out. Rumor is, she tried the same nonsense in another neighborhood and got sued again. The moral of the story? My granddad used to say it best. Fence good neighbors in, fence bad neighbors out.